Hello and welcome to another edition of your favourite podcast, Insane in the Membrane, with me, Rich Wilson. And this week I'm joined by the man behind Sober is Fun, amongst other things, Martyn Davies. Hello, mate.
Afternoon, Rich. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you as well. For the benefit of the people listening and not watching on YouTube, that is a marvellous Toshini top you got on there.
I dug it out, Rich, especially for you, mate. Thought you'd like
That is something else, man. That is, I love it. I'm really getting into the retro labels again, and Toshini, it's just one of them, isn't it?
It is,
it's one of them.
It is. I walked past this gentleman's store, shall we say, near where I live, getting of that age now, and there it was in the window, man. And I was like, gotta have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Rich.
I saw someone. He walked past me in the street, and I don't do this very often. Although I did it earlier, I was in the co-op next to my house, and there was a young fella walking around, and I went, "Mate, I'm not being weird, but I said, you smell amazing. What is that?" And he was a bit taken aback, and I went, "No, I'm honestly, I'm not being weird." And he went, "No, it's whatever it was." I can't remember what he said. I went, "That is beautiful." I just wandered off. But there was a fella in Brighton. He walked past. He had a pink Toshini on, and I stopped him as well. And I'm like, "Mate, where did you get that?" And he went, "I'm not going to tell you."
They're all coming out, mate. They are banging. I think they're all banging them out in a minute.
They are.
But yeah. Do like a bit of the old retro myself.
Yeah. I think we're of that age, mate, aren't we? We might have been able to afford like one of these things when we were kids, or when we were a bit younger. Like we had like one top, we wore it till it fell off. Now we're a bit older. We haven't got a lot of money, but we're a bit more. We go, I can have two, you know.
We can, man. And do you know what my biggest thing is? It's not wasting money on booze anymore. And,
no, mate.
Getting on it, you know. It's I've spent a lot of money doing that over the years, and it is just like it's lovely just to be able to treat yourself, you know, to something wholesome, just something good, you know. Yeah, we'll get there shortly, mate.
But it's funny, isn't it? Talking about booze, it's because I've never really. It was never a problem. It's just always been. It's just something I've always. It's just going, "Oh yeah, I'll have a pint. Oh yeah, let's go and have a pint." And just lately, it's more for health reasons. Really, it's been more like, you know what? I'm actually not going to have a pint. I'm actually gonna lay off. And now, when I do have a couple, I really feel it. So you know, you kind of go, and then you go, "I don't want to feel like that." So then you don't. Then suddenly you go, "Oh, I've not had a pint in ages." Whereas I think it could have been a problem if I for some reason it never became a problem. Drugs nearly did, coke nearly did. That nearly became an issue. For some reason, I managed to pull back from that as well. Whereas I know you threw yourself into it.
I did, man.
Are you right talking about it? Because this is the thing I know. Because I know people that have, like, there's our mutual friend, Mr. Paul Peary, and a few other people that I know, that he's all right with it. Like he'll come to the pub with other comedians and all that. But
yeah,
I worry sometimes that, because I know when I'm talking to people about doing it, if I'm with certain people that I know also do it, we both get all. I remember being in a car journey with a comedian about a couple of years ago, and we ramped ourselves up so much. It was like 2:00 in the afternoon. We got back to Southwest London, and we were both going, "Well, shall we call it on?" And this was at like 2:30 in the afternoon. So I'm aware that the conversation sometimes can trigger things. So I'm worried that I've started it and now I'm like, "Oh shit, I don't want to." Is this an issue for you?
Not at all, Rich.
Yeah.
Let me just take a drink. Yeah, I knocked it on the head 7 years ago, man. I had to get honest with myself, Rich. I had to get honest with myself. It was affecting my life, man. It was affecting everything that I was doing. And yeah, it was alcohol, which has been with me for years. But do you know what? The big one, it was the coke, mate. It was the coke. It really did put me in the ground, along with online gambling, because
the way
that my mind works, right? You know, I used to call it my little party for one. And I used to love this, you know. I used to love getting in, locking the door, living on my own, in my own space, in the front room, some gear, booze, laptop, right? And that was my little world at the end. That was my little world at the end. And what happened, Rich, is I just I withdrew from society, man. I withdrew
Mm,
from society. I stopped going out with my friends down the pub. I always wanted more. I was greedy.
mm.
I thought I was greedy, Rich, but I know now that my makeup, right, I can't have one of anything.
Right, right, right.
And I'm good with this, right? And I get it. Because when I look back over the years, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. Like why I was the last one swinging off the street lamp at 4 in the morning. All my mates have gone home. I'm still out looking for more.
Yeah.
It's, I accept that my reaction to alcohol, drugs, once I put it in my body, is different.
Mm,
I saw you have a beer, because I saw you last
yeah.
week, didn't I?
Yeah.
At Healthy Dose of Humour. And I loved it because you said that's all right, isn't it? If I just have a pint, I love the way, you did check standing next to me, and I'm absolutely fine with it. But
Nice, mate.
I tore the arse out of it, Rich, like back
Yeah.
in the day, absolutely. And there was great times.
Yeah.
There was great times in the 90s, man.
But it's funny, I think because I was a dad at such a young age, early 90s, I kind of missed out on quite a bit. So I think when the mother of my children, then we broke up around, I think it was back and forth throughout the 90s, and then we got to like 2000 and we just went, look, this ain't working. And I think from then I went off the rails. I sort of like made up for lost time and really got into, pills and whatever else. And became I got to be honest, I was a fucking animal, mate. I was a fucking animal. I remember going to a rave I was with a girlfriend of mine at the time, early 2000s, and all our mates and all her mates and that. We got a coach to London, and while I'm at this rave, I'm running around chasing after other women while she's there because I'm off me nut on pills. It was. I think about it now. Even saying it, I'm cringing. Like, what a fucking
I
disgusting
know.
wretch I was. Yeah. It's
It
horrible,
does
mate.
that. It is.
Yeah.
It is. It is. Like when I look back now, but what I do know, because I've done a lot of work on myself, mate, over these
Mm,
last 7 years. I really, really have. And, I've looked back, why? Because I wanted to find the why. Why did I end
yeah.
up? And I think a big one, and I could actually pinpoint it, was like when I got to secondary school and I was just over 16 and I was actually going grade N. I was at secondary school. And the thing was, I looked older than I actually was, and it was a bit of a joke. They all used to send Martyn into the off license, they were
Right,
waiting
right,
round the
right.
corner, so that was my job.
Yeah.
And I loved having that job because I really struggled, Rich, to fit in like at
Mm,
secondary school. I didn't know where to put myself. When I look back, I didn't want to hang around with the pot smokers or the smokers or the naughty lads. I think the best way to describe it, I just felt uncomfortable in my own skin. I just
yeah, yeah,
felt
yeah.
uncomfortable. And do you know what? Taking alcohol, because everybody loved Martin. When you put a drink in Martin, just watch him go, wind him up. So, yeah, you've got to come out with Martin. It's such a good laugh. He can buy the booze.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, so I kind of found my little my little into life, 16, 17. And, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't think it'd be a problem. But, like, looking back now, like I say, I was on it in a big way. And it's quite interesting because I remember I used to struggle with staying out late just drinking. And when I say just drinking, I used to
Mm,
try it, but I was rubbish. I was always making myself feel. And
yeah.
somebody, my good friend's uncle, I'm laughing at this, man. My good friend's uncle slipped me a bit of speed and was like, "That's what you need. Keep you going, mate. That'll keep you going." It did for about 4 weeks. No, back and forth. I'll never forget, right? But I thought I found the perfect mixture because it changed the way I felt. I felt
mm,
really good. and I felt comfortable in these social situations. Whereas before, like when my mates were like, "You're coming down the pub, you know, we're watching the football." I haven't got any interest in football. I think,
No.
a bit like you, Rich. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it was an excuse to go down the boozer. It was just an excuse for me to get on it. So I needed to put something in me to, bring me to the front of the crowd, if that
Yeah,
makes
of
sense.
course. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, mate. I think I found that with booze, because I was the same as you. I knew all the cool kids and I knew all the nerdy kids, and at school I was sort of in between, but wasn't really part of anything. I was always just sort of floating around, sort of on my own. I felt like I was on my own quite a bit, but yeah, because I was uncomfortable in my own skin. And then when we left school and we were getting into drinking, and then I'm like, oh, this feels great, because now I don't feel so uneasy amongst everybody, and that's what's been happening my entire life. It's always been, oh, I'm going to meet someone. Shit, I better have a couple of pints before I meet them, and then I'm in the sweet spot, and I don't feel embarrassed, and I don't walk away afterwards going, oh, I shouldn't have fucking said that. Oh God, all the usual insecurities. And you don't realise you're doing it. You go, that's all right, it's only a couple of pints. But then you add that up over a week, you add that up over a month. You're like, Jesus Christ. You wonder why you got no money.
You do, and we rely on it though. Do you know what I mean? We kind of
Yeah,
lean on it to do that work for us. And
yeah,
I think the scary thing, for people when they're thinking about knocking it on the head and they've done it for so long, it's all they've known, like all
yeah.
their life. Like we're talking,
Mm,
from a young age, all I knew was getting on it from a very, very young age, and then to remove what has kind of worked for me
mm,
for a long time. It is a weird experience, man. And
yeah,
I think people hang on to what are they going to be missing out on? This is a
yeah,
big one, right? And I went through this. If I stop going out, getting on it, drinking, doing gear, I'm going to be missing out. And it's a bit of a cliche, and I hated it, but there's so much to gain, man.
yeah.
Alcohol is just a tiny, tiny part, and I'll say it, of like normal people's lives. I don't class myself as normal when it comes to alcohol or substance. And yeah, it's such a small part of other people's lives, but it becomes the everything for me.
Yeah,
Do you know?
I do know. I do know, and I know what you mean. I got caught up because I used to love, like, an ex partner of mine that I live with, and she grew up in a very strict household, and so when we got together, she'd come away from all of that, and so all bets are off, and suddenly there was this world of chaos that she got involved with, and it used to be carnage round at our, because we had this flat in London that everyone used to pile back to. So it was always, it was always on at the weekend. I'd come back from a gig, everyone's there, you know. But then it got to a point, it was like, oh, it's Tuesday, let's get on it. And it got, and then I did start to think, we can't do this all the time. But then I was like, oh, but I love it. And, you get in that cycle, but
Mm.
how do I, that feeling of euphoria that you get when you're on it and you're having a great time, that's the addictive bit, isn't it? That's what you're chasing.
It is, man. That feeling. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely. It might sound a bit wrong. I absolutely loved the feeling produced by drink and
Mm,
drugs. Right, I
yeah.
absolutely loved it. It had a purpose for me when I was 16, 17. But I was banging to my music. I was going clubbing. I was up the West End, Leisure Lounge, Strawberry Sun. I was loving
Mm,
it when I was round about that age. And something kicked off, right, which I don't talk about a great deal, but
mm,
it was massive in my life for me. It was massive. So round about that time, so I'm out raving, loving it. Everything's good. And my older brother is a musician, and
right.
he, I remember. So when I was 17, I loved going out, getting on it, and to such an extent, I wanted to secure that feeling. And I was thinking to myself,
Mm,
I need to find something in life, a job or something, that I can have a supply and still do a job. So I thought, right, I'm going to go away. I'm going to go away from my home, right? I'm going to work away. So
Okay.
I went to Butlins when I was 17. And I was a Butlins redcoat, right? And
Yeah.
I had the time of my life. Mr. Mulhern was over, Steve Mulhern was over in the Minehead camp doing his thing.
Oh, yeah.
I was over in Bognor Regis.
Right.
And I suddenly remembered when I used to go to holiday camps with my mum and dad, you used to get visited by an entertainer and they used to sit at your table. They used to buy you a drink, mate. They used to,
Right.
and somehow, I just remembered all this and I was thinking, that is such a bit of me. I'm a bit outgoing. I'm even better
Yeah.
when I've had a drink. So I ended up being like a general redcoat and I was getting, we were allowed to drink in moderation.
Yeah.
But I used to have drinks dotted all over the ballroom. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was 17. But coming back to where I'm going with this story, right, is that I was actually at Butlins. I took a call from my brother and it was mind-blowing, Rich, because he taught himself to play the guitar. And he said, oh, just to let you know, I'm going on tour with the Prodigy.
My
I'm
God.
going on their Poison tour. And I was like, you what? He goes, yeah. Liam done a gig. They were at my university, and I approached them. I was a stagehand. I gave them a cassette playing over the top of their tunes. Man, it went
Wow.
off. That was the perfect experience. So what happened there? And I'm saying it. I'm not saying this out of like any sort of wanky ego, or I'm not looking for. I don't need any of that. What it did, being a younger sibling, man, watching that explode in the 90s, he went on and all the guitar you hear on Fire Starter Breathe, that's my older brother.
Holy
And
shit.
and
Holy shit, mate.
It was massive, man. And I don't talk about this. And I've only just started talking about this, Rich, in my recovery. I would say seriously, man, the last couple of years, because I went through my recovery journey. It's about me, but then I really had to look deep and think, why did I keep on? Why did I stay as I was? I was in trouble, man, when I was in my late teens. I struggled being a younger sibling of someone that's up there, right?
Yeah, I get it. I understand.
Playing Glastonbury. I know they're back at Glastonbury this year, but he played on the second stage with them. The first time they done Glastonbury, Oasis was on the other stage, and everyone was running over to see the Prodigy. You know what I mean? And when they were in their height, oh mate, and I used to get well looked after, and I used to run around. God bless him, man. With Keith's brother, we were a nightmare.
Yeah.
We were like me and
the
Gary.
siblings always, anyone connected to the bands or the people, they're always the ones. There's a big band that I got into a fight with one of the band members' sons at a Butlins gig. I got into a fight with his security because my ex was on stage they came up on stage and went through the back curtain because they just thought they could just wander around. And I went, where the fuck have you two just come from? They went, no, mate, I'm just trying to get him out. And they pretended that the security guy pretended he was getting this fella out. I went, yeah, but not on the stage. My missus is on there. And he went, oh, yeah. And me and him just start tussling backstage, and the son was there. And I didn't know who that was. And it wasn't till after. And they went, yeah, that's Thingy's son. I'm like, oh, fuck. That's a gig I'll never. So it's always the people connected to the band.
Mate, I was a nightmare. Right there. Oh, so Keith's bodyguard, Con, God bless him too, man. He passed not long after Keith.
Nah.
Yeah, he did, man. I ended up working for him in my security part of my life I went to, because I was in awe, right, of Keith's bodyguard and the team that they had round him all the time. And a long story short is, I ended up working for Con and his security team. I ended up working in a club in the West End, which they ran. So I was pretty much protected. I wasn't allowed to run into any of the fights or anything.
Yeah.
Because of their main job that they were doing.
Right.
So, you know, I was kind of looked after. But I remember being at one show and I'm just laughing to myself because Con had to carry me out, right? Like cradling me in his arms. I'd become too much. Who would have thought? I'd become too much. I was so off my head, right, in this actual show. I can just remember being like ran down the fire escape with
Oh
like
my God.
their security carrying me, throwing me in the cab, and the cab speeding off, and people throwing shit at the cab. And
Yeah.
but that was me. Then I'd wake up and think, oh, what happened last? And this is the difference with me. It's like my brain, I can go out and cause carnage, right? And it will let me forget it quite
Wow.
quickly. So where I get myself in trouble is I'll go, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just take a little bit tonight. I'll just get half in. And believe in that lie in my head.
Yeah, of
Believe
course.
in that little lie. So you go out, and I know I'm going to be back out for 4 days.
Yeah.
Even though I've created all this carnage. So, yeah, you know, I'm just so
And when you're
pleased, Rich, man. That,
when you're around that kind of environment as well, because it looks like on the outside, when a band is at its peak, you know, it like the world is your oyster. Like you can literally go from place to place to place, banging around, and people just giving you stuff and giving you stuff. You're connected to the band or whatever, and you'll go, oh, well, let's have that, have that.
it
Oh,
was
there's a party
crazy.
going over here. We're going over this way now. We're going that way. Before you know it, you're out for a week. That I'm not surprised.
It was insane.
Yeah, you would have. Of course, you would have lost your marbles. I dare anyone not to. I dare
I think I've
anyone to
done
get through
well
that
to
and
hold
go.
on to them,
Yeah,
Rich. for
yeah,
as long as
4
I
of them.
did.
You got
But
4 of them left.
but I tell you what, a big one, and you know, people listening might get this right. It's like when you see success happening in someone else.
Mm,
In me, I was like, I've got to try and, you know, I need to be up there. I need to get
yeah.
there. So what I done from the age of 17 at Butlins, right, running around like a lunatic, right? And I thought, right, well, I must be able to get there, you know. And
Mm.
for one, I'm not talented. I don't play the instruments. I didn't do anything. I learned to juggle. This is my claim to fame at Butlins and
They might need
balance.
a juggler behind the scenes. It's like,
Who knows it? Who knows it, Rich? But you know, I was trying to become successful at a very young age, Rich. I was trying to climb this ladder, right? And I ended up DJing, and but I was so off my head because, like you've just described, it does come with the job.
mm,
Not for everyone, because
no,
it's quite interesting when I meet people now that are early on in their recovery, and they're like, "Oh, I had to stop working in a bank, or I had to stop working as a broker in the city." Everybody's on it. Then I meet a roofer, and they go, "Oh, I can't do roofing anymore." Everybody, and it's actually
yeah,
the
it's actually
problem
everywhere.
is there's people in these lines of work that don't. But as
Yeah,
a greedy addict, we kind of, you know, we search them out, don't we? And we kind of,
it's you're so right. Everyone, there's always a seam of this thing happening. So it could be anywhere. Like, you know, yeah, my ex was working in the city. That's why there was a load of stuff around. Then there was, yeah, I know people in bands. I know, yeah, roofers that go, me and the boys, after we finish work at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we're in the pub, and it's all, and there's people, you go to weddings now, and people are going, oh, do you want a little? I'm like, a fucking wedding, mate. What you on about? Like, it's rife. And I don't know, like you say, there's very few, not everyone's on it, but it feels like when you're in it, it does feel like everyone's on it. It's in it.
it does, man. And that is the perfect excuse, Rich, to
Yeah.
keep you right where you are. Oh, everybody's on it. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not, man. It's not
It's
everywhere.
just where you are. And
It's
like
just
you've
where
just said,
you,
yeah.
it's where
And it's
you
like you
are, right?
said, yeah.
And it's your conditioning, right? You've conditioned yourself to go to these places, to hang around with these people. Of course it's going to be there. But when you're in it, it's a great excuse to tell people. And I used to tell people, it's just what I do, man. It's just what I do. You know, I've done it all my life. You know, I've done it all my life. But chasing success, Rich, was like the big one for me. It
Yeah.
really, really hammered me hard, and I become really, really unwell. My last job in entertainment before I went in the booking side.
Yeah.
I finished working in a nightclub, just mental, absolutely mental DJing, and somehow I ended up on a cruise ship. I ended up on a P&O cruise, right? And I thought, this is funny. I thought it would be like a party on, you know, just a party on water. And today it is. We know a lot of
There's
our
a few of
mates
them,
work on
yeah.
ships and they do all this, right? But they stuck me on the oldest ship in the fleet at P&O, right? And I remember getting on it. I've just come out of the nightclub scene, you know, and I went onto this ship to take a contract. And they put me in this ballroom and I had to play like they were asking for like Peggy Lee, Al Jolson. It was a bizarre experience, Rich.
Yeah.
And so I'd been feeding myself in these clubs and all in that lifestyle with just living on alcohol and drugs, right, for a lot of years. And I was on the ship and I didn't know how to I didn't know how to do what I was doing without it. This is
Oh
the honest
shit.
truth.
Yeah.
I was so reliant. But I was going around that ship looking for the gear, wasn't I? This is the nuts thing. I was asking the other entertainers, you know, like, mate, you're in the middle of the Mediterranean. But this is how insane I was then, mid-20s. And I just had to bang the port and brandy, like the drink that you drink
Wow.
when you're on the water.
Yeah.
And I just become very unwell on that ship. A mate had passed before I went on that ship, which is always going to be tricky. He took over from me at the nightclub that I was working at,
Yeah.
and I got a message as I got on the ship to say that he didn't make it for his first gig. You know, he was travelling.
Fuck.
He was down in North Devon. God bless you, Mario, man. I was working for Jumping Jacks, the old fun pub. I don't think
I
they even
know
go there
Jumping
now, the old
Jacks.
party
Yeah,
bars.
yeah.
And
I know them. There used to be one in Maidstone, yeah.
yeah, there used to be quite a few of them. And he was covering for me while I went and done this work. And yeah, man, he didn't make it. He was going through North Devon and round from Minehead, round the cliffs. And yeah, man, unfortunately, he
Wow.
went off. And so I got this news as I went on the boat. And so that added to, to not being comfortable without alcohol, just having that
Yeah.
news. And I don't know, I had to get off it. They had to bring me back to Southampton.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we went out. I was meant to go back out on another cruise. I just got off it, right? I couldn't work out what was going on with me.
Yeah.
This is insane, Rich. This is man. So got my old man to pick me up, and got back home. What's the first thing I done?
Oh,
What is the
mate.
first thing I
Called
done?
it on. Called it
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Went to saw my mates. Just,
You know.
but I now know, right? It was a couple of things. It was loss, but it was also addiction knocking on my door, man. So
Yeah.
I was empty of everything for the first time for quite a long time, even at that age.
Fucking
And my
hell.
body didn't know what was going on. So that was in my early 20s, Rich. And
Wow.
yeah, this is the journey. This is the journey, man. And yeah, the bitter ending, like I mentioned to you earlier on, was just sitting at home in the front door, behind the front
Yeah.
door, party for one, thinking that that's what I wanted with
Yeah.
no friends because I was happy, sat in my pants on a
Yeah.
Tuesday morning at 5 in the morning,
Oh, God.
crawling around my floor looking for specks of coke,
Yeah.
sad, man, but man,
What was the turn? What made you, even like you say, because when you're in it, when you're doing that, you kind of go, "This is amazing. This feels amazing." What was the turn? What made you go, "Fuck this, I can't"? What made you realise it was a problem?
do you know what? I had enough. Right,
Yeah,
I've been doing it for 27 years at this point,
Jesus. Yeah,
right? And my ending, I don't mind going there. I got nicked for something really stupid, right? Because at the end, when I was drinking and getting on it, you didn't know what Martyn was going to present himself.
Right.
Is he going to be angry, Martyn? Has he
Yeah.
eaten? Is he going to be the Ponzi Martyn down the pub when I used to still go out and hanging on with other people? You never knew what you was going to get with me at the end, and
Yeah.
I used to get into silly relationships, right? Let's just call them silly. I call
Yeah.
them silly because they were all made online. And we all know the first online dating site. I think it was Plenty of Fish or something. Yeah, I'm cringing now. So when you're off your bollocks at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
on a Tuesday, full of all that shit, the alcohol ain't particularly working anymore. The drugs, the gambling ain't working anymore. I'm looking for my next fix, man.
Yeah,
And
of
that
course
is
you
it.
are. Yeah.
That is it. And I would get in these relationships. I call them silly because they're just. I was getting with people like me, and
Right.
it's never gonna be pretty, I heard this saying once: two sickies don't make a welly, and I love it. Like when you get with someone and you think that it's going to be best because they love it, I love it.
Oh, we've
We
got
can
so
have the
much in
best
common.
sex. It's going to be mental. No, you're both mental, and it is never going to end up going well. One thing led to another. I become too much, right? And she's throwing shit at me and get out of my house and all that stuff, right? And yeah, she called the old bill on me, and I can remember them turning up. And I've never been nicked for anything, Rich, in my life. I've got away somehow with all the ducking and diving with the gear and doing all that. And I can remember when they were turned up, and I was like, mate, she's in there. And they just put her up. And I was like, and I went mental. I was off my Larry, but I went nuts because, as we do, it's always your fault. It's always her fault, isn't it?
Always.
It's always someone else's fault.
Yeah.
It was never mine.
Nah.
Even though she was doing what she was doing and throwing shit at me, I was probably not being particularly polite, using the best Queen's English.
Yeah.
So I got
all of that.
right? It was ridiculous,
mate.
for this.
But all
for
of
this
that.
minor altercation.
But all of that is all. We're all. It's like you're doing. Oh, I'm doing gear because of this. I'm drinking because of that. She's mental. That's why this is all kicking off. You shouldn't get. I shouldn't get involved with mental people. And you just go, mate.
Look at me.
Look at you. You're not a catch, mate.
Mate, I certainly wasn't then. So yeah, I ended up getting taken to a police station, and then do you know what? I had to call my mum to get me out of it. I had no mates left. Honestly.
Oh,
good
shit.
Old mum.
Yeah.
Good old mum. I thought I was in Chelmsford, Nick. I wasn't. I was in Southend, and
oh God.
So she picked me up, right, and she said to me, "Oh, so what's going on?" I said, "Oh, you won't believe her. You won't believe what she's." Just pointing all the blame. I call it the blame thrower, right? Because that's what you do when you're in addiction. You blame everybody else,
mate.
right? And I said to my mum, "Oh, can you just drop me back home?" "No, you're coming back to ours."
Wow.
And I'm now. This is something that saved my life, man. This is something that saved my life because I went back to the family home, and I walked in the front door, and my brother was there, and my old man was there. "Come here, sit down." And I had an old school intervention.
Oh, fuck.
My brother had been trying to get hold of me for 3 years, so it turns out, Rich, because his mates had been seeing me running around like a lunatic and all feeding back to him. "Your brother's not good." But every time I went and saw him, or I went to see the family, I put that mask on. "How are you?" "Yes, everything's fine. Everything's going really well." I'm busted up inside, man.
Yeah.
I'm busted. So my brother got these bits of paper out and was like, these were all emails and texts he's printed off, man,
Oh,
from all
wow.
these people that were worried about me. And it come down to, what are you going to do about it? And the
Mm.
first thing that they said, the first thought that come in my head, I can get away with it. That's my first thought. But the
Yeah.
second thought said, you're done. You are done.
Yeah.
You know, that internal snap happened there and then.
Oh,
And I
wow.
went and saw the doctor on the Monday. That was on the Saturday. They're about as much use as a chocolate teapot. They don't get much training in addiction. But he recommended I needed to go away by the way that I presented. And when I say that, like, to a secure place. And I ended up
Oh,
in a rehab. I ended up in a rehab. And best thing I've ever done, man. You know,
mate.
I needed time out of the world, Rich, because it was,
So did I know you at this point? Because I've known
yes.
you. So this was all going on when you worked for Ian
Mm,
Franklin.
this was all going on
It
behind the
was all
scenes,
going on.
man. This
Because
was all.
none of us knew.
Mm,
Because I always saw you always had your suit on. You always looked sharp. You
I'm
always look,
busted.
you're like, oh, he's looking well. Been in the gym.
The last few years, mate. But I used to keep up that appearance and tell you that I've been running, or I've been jogging, I've been to the gym. But it got to the stage. I haven't even mentioned it, but I am going to go there because people need to hear it, right?
Mm,
Before I got nicked and I was sat in that house on my own, um, at the stupid time of a morning on a Monday, whatever, just check out of life. What's the point? What's the
wow.
point? What's the point? And I did. I took a load of medication, Rich. I took a load of medication because I snapped my tib and fib. I don't know if you remember the time I was hobbling around the shows on
Yes, I
a
do. Yeah.
crutch because
Yeah.
I snapped my tib and fib due to an accident when I was off my pickle.
Mm.
And
I thought
I
that
was
was a
just
running injury.
No, that's a jumping into a festival with a jumping out of a tree.
Oh,
For
mate,
anybody that wanted to know the real truth out of that, I
I'm
told people I
so
fell down a rabbit
fucking.
hole.
Yeah, it was something like that. I just assumed you were. I'm so naive.
But this is what I used to just lie and just talk bollocks right towards the end, just to cover up everything. And yeah, I went to that dark place, Rich. I went to that
Mm,
place, man, and I had a load of medication laying around the house. And this is the sad thing. Like, when you look back to where I started and the party scene that I was involved in,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
look where I ended up, man, on my own in my pants, wanting to kill myself, man.
Fuck
And
me.
I needed that time out in that rehab to get well. And this is where the mental idea of doing sober as fun came in.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
it's funny. I'm going to be honest with you. So the last couple of months, I've had a couple of times where I've gone, fuck it, I'm going to do it. Things have been really hard, and I'm like, who have I got to talk to that's going to listen? No one's going to listen. Everyone's busy. Everyone's got their own shit to deal with, and you get into that sort of spiral. And then I'm like, oh, but everyone will give a shit if I do it. If I fucking go, then everyone will, oh my God, he should have said something. He should have said something. I think what we need to do, and this is why what the work that you do is really important, is we're trying to get people to get used to the idea of listening to people. It's all very well telling people to open up and talk, but who are you going to talk to? You need to go. I felt I was like, fuck it. There's no one. And I eventually spoke to my missus and I went, I'm feeling like this. And she went, I had no idea. I went, I'm holding on by my fingertips, babe.
well
I don't know
done,
what to do.
man. It
And
is.
but that's the thing. There's if you talk to people, people are either busy or they'll go, oh mate, I'm sorry to hear that, and they don't know what to do. They don't know what to say, and it's not until you go. And then everyone goes, oh, I had no idea. He was such a great bloke. He should have done this. He should have done that. He should have come to me. You go, no, if he'd have come to you, you would have been too busy. You would have gone, you would have looked at your phone and gone, oh, fucking hell, I'm too busy for that. I'll call him back in a minute. And
It
this is what we
is,
need to do.
man. It is. And do you know what? When I was in that headspace,
Mm,
it didn't even come in. You don't think about what you're going to leave, right? And I'm going to say it is so
yeah.
selfish, man. It is so. And God bless, a good few friends. And, in this chat, man, it's just brought
Yeah,
home to me the amount of times I've actually said that and the amount of people I've lost, on my journey
yeah,
today.
yeah, yeah.
And, I've lost you know, we all know a big figure that sadly took his own life, and
Mate, honestly, this is the thing. We don't realise the hole that we will leave
this is
when we
it.
go. This is the thing. It's going to affect. It changes the direction of everyone around you's lives. When we all heard about Keith, even though we didn't know him, we were somehow sort of connected to him because he was one of us. Like
Mate,
he came from us, from where
there's
we
much,
were from, and then
there's,
he had it all. To our mind, he had it all. And then you go, oh, and then it just comes on Keith Flint, and you go like, are you fucking joking? The fire starter, the man
mm,
that the non-stop party animal, the man that, and you don't realise underneath the struggle that's going on, and none of us saw it. I don't know. I wasn't
no,
that close
no,
to him, but
honestly, like you say, it doesn't matter, fame, adulation, whatever, addiction, mental health, it
mm,
affects it everybody. It does not discriminate, right? It does not discriminate. And we have to remember that when we're feeling shit.
yeah,
And when you are feeling shit, you're not on your own, man. Come on, we need to get this out there.
mm,
You're not the only one going through what you're going through. Because at that time, you
yeah,
feel like you are, like you just described, Rich, that no one wants to listen to my shit. No one wants to hear it. That is our minds. This is how deceiving this computer in our head is. Right. And yes, he had everything, but he just struggled with it, yes, I do know what it was, but it's
he kicked
let's
the
just
arse
say
out of it.
life stuff, right? Let's
Yeah,
just say life stuff that
yeah,
we all go through, right?
yeah,
And it's I spent some wonderful time with him over the years, and some beautiful times, not just crazy,
no,
because I will say that, he does have to keep up a certain image, and when it was all kicking off and the fire start
of
days
course.
and
But I did it. But
certain
I did
places wouldn't
it.
play it, and
But I did hear as well. Everyone that's ever spoken about him, they've all said the same thing. He was a lovely dude. He was a
yeah,
lovely guy. He was a sweetheart. Of course, probably had his moments. We all have our moments. We
yeah,
can all be a bit cunty sometimes. But
oh, of
you know,
course, but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just to go to that place, it's just. Yeah, it's just horrible, man. It's just horrible getting to that, and I just, I don't, how have I got here? And it's like,
yeah.
I was like, why do I deserve it? What have I done was the big one. What have I done? My life's shit, right?
Mm,
So, no friends. You ended up in your pants on a Tuesday morning. What's going on? Everyone's doing life, going to work. You're sat there waiting for darkness to go round to the corner shop so I can buy some more
yeah.
boots. That's,
Uh,
so no one sees me because the fear and what I look
yeah,
like
yeah,
and
yeah.
all that shit. How have I got there? And I go back to, the conditioning. I've set myself up over the years. That's what's happened. It isn't fate. It isn't anything like that. Poor me. If I rewind the tape and I go back, I did choose to live a bit of a mental life, back in the mid 90s. And yeah, I chose to continue to stay in that line of work, in that party scene with those friends. And I'm afraid you will mold yourself. This is what,
Right.
and my journey now, like where I'm now, I'm well into my meditation, and I've got a
Mm,
Buddhist centre. I could hit it with a stone where I live. Oh,
yeah.
sorry, there's Dobby the dog. Quick,
Hello,
say hello.
mate.
Hello, it's
Hello,
Rich.
mate.
Rich? Look, there he is.
How you doing?
Hey, Dobby.
Hello, mate.
Yeah, stepdaughter, massive Harry Potter fan. There you go.
Nice.
So yeah, I go around to the Buddhist centre and I meditate, right? And because my head, without drink or drugs,
Mm.
100 miles an hour,
Mate,
all those
you haven't,
thoughts.
mate. Honestly, because now you're on the other side, and now you do sober is fun, and you do a lot of talks about you give a lot of talks about mental health, and you're always doing something connected with that. I can see because I've known you a while. I can see that it's like you're kind of trying to keep the monkey in the box. It's like you're like your energy's kind of like yeah, we're going to do that, because if you stand up, the monkey comes out, and you just, do you know what I mean? So you're always on it, and you're always we're going to do that, and I'm like, oh, he's on it, and he's keeping an eye on it, but it's there, isn't it?
It is. But do you know what? I'm on it because I used to say this a lot when I was still drinking it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And do you know what happened? Fuck all. Nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
You talk about it. So what's happened is I've kind of got this zest for life back, Rich, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And people that have put down the booze or put down a substance will know exactly, what I'm talking about. And I don't miss opportunity. I've been very lucky. Like, at the beginning of my journey, stop licking my hand, you weirdo. So at the beginning, it is a dog, I suppose. Yeah.
So it's not the first time you've been said that.
No, definitely not. My last week, no, I can't go. So yeah, it's I'm just very grateful that. Do you know what? The biggest thing I done, Rich, is I got honest with myself, right?
It's hard. That's the hardest bit, isn't it?
One of our good friends, John Ryan, phoned me up, right, when I'd just come out of rehab. And he asked me outright, how are you? So I used to respond to that question by just giving a, yeah, sweet, yeah, good, mate, yeah, fine, good, fine. And this is the first time I've used my new skills that I've learned in the rehab. I said, I'll be honest, John, I haven't been too well.
Yeah.
Oh, what's happened? And I went into it with him. And one thing leads to the other. And the reason he was called it was nuts, because we know what work he does, his well-being work and his talks and stuff. He said, I don't believe this. He said, I'm looking for someone that's been through alcohol, struggles, drugs, to come out and the next thing you know, I think this is probably just over a year sober. I'm out in front of 200 people talking about my journey. It was insane. And people, this is quite fun. So the first one I'd done, it was a conference. There was about 200 people there. Somebody come up to me at the end, and only knew me from my shots days, was because I brought in a little bit about the band, and I remember you. I remember you seeing you, and I was like, oh my God, this was crazy. This is how does that happen? But I'm just saying this stuff because I'm a big believer, right? The energy and what I do today, what I give off to the universe will look after you, man. And being honest. And I've got all these new words, ethical, because I'm learning them. You see, at the booth
Okay,
center.
yeah.
So living as a good boy, just not getting up to shit for anyone.
But it's funny trying to be, when you, like you said about being honest with yourself, and I've had to do that a few times with myself, and just go, mate, you know what, you are fucking morally bankrupt because you don't give a fuck. You get an idea and you get all caught up in it, and you go, yeah, I'm going to do that, and then afterwards, when you've got what you wanted, you're like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. People are going to get hurt now, and it's selfish.
I've had to unlearn. Is probably the best way, Rich. I've had to unlearn a lot of years, and I've had to really, I've done a massive amount of work on myself in the rehab, and today, with my well-being, I'm the nutcase. I'm running a lot at the minute. I've got the marathon coming up next month, which I'm doing for an addiction charity. Running a marathon with loads of metal in my leg, like from that accident that I had. I'm still not right, I'm sure. But
I think it's that, isn't it? It's that, because what people need to understand is that the things that drove you to be addicted to certain things, those things, the triggers are still there. You need to try and channel the energy into something more positive. So a lot of people do get into fitness, and a lot of people get, because it's got to go somewhere. I know that Paul Peary, again, mentioned him again. He's addicted to collecting the days of his sobriety, and because every time I see him, he's like, oh, I'm this many, I'm that many. I'm like, fucking yes, Paul. You've got to channel it to something, because it's still there. innit? You know,
You
it's still
have,
about,
you have. You
yeah,
knocks it on the head, man. You have got to do something with it. If you don't, you're in trouble.
yeah,
Right. If you try and keep it in a box and put it on the shelf, you know. But yeah, I done a lot, as I said. Once I come out of the rehab, I done the 12-step stuff. I was in
mm,
AA, CA, Cocaine Anonymous, and wonderful places, right?
mm,
For when you need it, to be around people like you.
yeah,
And the 12 steps get you to look at yourself. And I think the best way to describe that is a great place to start looking at yourself, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
it took me off and took me around the Buddhist Centre and just opened up, so like what I'm doing now, like I just thought at the end when I got out of the rehab, I had these ideas of like, I wonder what it's like doing an alcohol-free comedy club, like having, and you come
Mm,
and done, I think one of the first ones in
I
Chelmsford.
think
That
I
was
did.
about
Yeah.
that was over 7 years ago.
No, that
It's
feels like
scary, isn't it, man?
yesterday.
No, it's scary, isn't it?
Because I remember
In
when
Chelmsford.
you booked me for it, and I went, "Are you sure you want me to do this?" Yeah, yeah,
Now you've said it, the whole comedy circuit was like, "What is that bloke doing?" His office, no, that ain't gonna work, And
yeah.
everybody was talking about. I know they were and slagging it off and all this, but it's such a fun afternoon. You've
It's
come and done it a
brilliant.
couple of times
I've
in
done it
London,
a
haven't
few
you?
times, and it's absolutely brilliant. When I mentioned that feeling of euphoria before that you get from substance abuse and you get from alcohol, that there's a sweet spot where it all hits right, and you're going, "This is the best night of my life." When I didn't think you could recreate that feeling of euphoria, but you can do it. Like when you do start taking care of yourself, when you do start eating healthily, when you do start exercising, that moment when you realise you're taking care of yourself, you get that jolt of and that's what you've got in that room when you do Sober is Fun. All those people, I mean, as one, recognise the journey they've been on, where they're at now. Now they're in a room full of people, and everyone goes, "Oh, I wasn't alone. Look at where we are now." And then we're all having a laugh about it, and it's just that, and it just jolts again at you. Oh, this is great. And so Sober is fun. It's mad. I didn't think I'd
This
ever
is
say
it,
that.
man. This is it. Some people won't think it's fun if they're relapsing all the time and they're not
Yeah.
particularly doing it. But then they're not doing it right. Come on, I will go there. If you're relapsing, you either ain't ready to stop or, you need to have a look at why you're doing it. There's a big
Yeah.
blockage there because it can be done. And I think me nattering onto you for an hour does kind of prove that going to the deepest depths, you can get out of it if you want it
Yeah.
and if you're ready, right? If you're ready for it, it makes it so much
Yeah.
easier to change. But like you said, we had one, bloody hell, last Sunday. So I saw
Yeah. I
you
saw it. Yeah.
on the Thursday at the Healthy Dose of Humour. Then on the Sunday, I was in London. And yeah, it's just the energy in the room. Like,
Yeah.
because what you've got there, they're not going, obviously, to get on it or pissed up. They're going for the comedy, and they're so
Yeah.
comedy attentive. They're hanging on every word you're saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they're actually going for the comedy. Whereas, take 20 blokes, one of them says, "Let's go to a comedy club,"
Yeah.
8 of them are up for it. The others just want to go and get on the smash. And
Yeah.
that is what happens. And when you take all that stuff out of the showroom, all those people getting up to go and powder their noses every 2 seconds, all those
Mm,
disturbances that you get,
yeah.
yeah, because people couldn't see how it could work, right? But me, obviously, starting in my journey, I could see a market there. I could see a
Yeah.
big market there.
Yeah.
But you can't see it if you're not in it. And
No,
and
of
this
course not.
is what people couldn't see in the industry, right? And is it making loads of money? Is it? No, of course it's not. Is it doing its own thing? And am I? Is it self-running? And is there a little bit left over? Yes, there is. Right.
Mm,
And the more important thing is it's doing good. Right. It's doing good.
yeah.
So plug time, isn't it? If you
But
want to
yeah. Go
experience
on.
an afternoon, but do you know what? If you
Go
do
on.
drink, a big, actually growing part of our market, which is really, really interesting, is people just abstaining for the afternoon
Yeah.
because they don't want to be around
But
Wes
this is
Wally's,
it.
all those, you know.
Yeah, this is what I was about to say to you. Another part of why Sober is Fun is great is that it's people coming out to the environments where they normally would have had a drink or they would have normally got on it, and then going through that afternoon and coming out the other side having had a good night, a good afternoon, but they haven't got on it. And there's a sense of achievement by being able to go to a place where alcohol is available and not having it. Because I think that's what Paul Peary does. I keep mentioning him because he's the closest one to me that I know has been through it. And he likes going to the pub with everybody. And we're all having a drink and all that, and then we're walking out, and he gets that sense of, I did it. I went to the pub. I never had a drink. I've that pat on the back. Well done, me. I can go to these places, and that's what happens with Sober is Fun. People come out going, "Yeah, that was all right. That look what we did. Look what we did."
Exactly, Rich.
Yeah,
Like you've got both perspectives there, right? You've got both, people that do drink that, all they know every time they go out, you have a drink. You go out, you have a drink. It's inbred. The UK's just a nightmare, right? We have a nightmare nation for the
yeah.
booze. It is. We associate it with everything. Anything goes good, we want to celebrate. Everything goes really bad, we want to intoxicate. We just want to
But
get
that's the
on
thing, isn't it? Like there are other there's like the Italians and the French and wherever else. They seem to have a lovely relationship with alcohol where they can do. It's just part of the meal. It's part of what they're doing. They don't get. Whereas the British, like we go out and we're like, I'm getting fucked. I don't care. I'm gonna get fucked on the way to getting fucked. There's no
Not
like
even make it. Not even
no.
go out. That's I used to give up at the end, didn't it? They all used to
I
come round
produce.
the house, right? I just can't be asked.
Let's just do it here. But producer Paul and I, we'll have a couple of beers and we have a nice time. We have a nice chat. And we don't get smashed up. Like we're not like, yeah, let's fucking get on it. We have a nice couple of beers. But I just like it when I've been in France or I've been in Italy or wherever, and just that you're having a nice time and the booze is sort of intertwined to what you're doing. It's not the real reason you're doing it. It's kind of in there, and I think that's something else we need to kind of address
It
in this
is.
country.
It
Like you
is.
say, it's that. Yeah, getting out and getting smashed.
Yeah, it's just all we know. It's just not inbred in us, isn't it? But yeah, people that just taking the afternoon off. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're becoming one of the biggest audiences, right? I'll be absolutely honest with you. There was a recovery focus on the project, obviously when I first started, but that's way gone.
yeah,
The sober curious, the people that are just stopping alcohol to live a better life. They've never
yeah,
had a problem. People with faith, that
yeah,
can't drink alcohol. You know, it's kind of opening up a bit now, and
yeah.
and people aren't drinking as much. The old Gen Zs and all. They're not getting off their chops like we
No,
used to. They're not.
yeah,
They're just on their computers for about 12 months at a time. But no, and also what I was going to say, because you really sparked something off, is like when you're talking about Paul going down the pub, sense of achievement and stuff. What people need to understand is if you do stop drinking, you do your recovery and you get yourself well, however way you choose to do it. There's so many ways of getting sober now. And all I will
mm,
say on that note is be careful that people want to charge you loads of money, right, on Instagram. And just be very careful because people
mm,
are in it for the coin, right? But if you do your recovery, right, I'm free to go anywhere I want. I'm not uncomfortable around booze in the pub.
no,
I love people like you, Rich, that respect it, and you say, "Is that all
mm,
right?" And those sort of things. But I'm free. I've been to Clockwork Orange, right down at the race course. Everybody's having it. I'm there. I'm at home at 8 with a cup of tea, in bed by 9. I've had a wicked night.
yeah,
Honestly, I can still do those things today, but I'll be honest with you, the people that, well, the old me's, shall we say, that are rocking
yeah,
around those places that should know better at their age.
yeah.
That's what does me in when they're bumping into me and they're dribbling and they're like in their 50s.
There's
Oh,
a
come on.
there's
Do
a
you know what
tragedy.
I mean?
Yeah, there's a tragedy to
There
it, isn't
is.
there? Yeah,
And they're the ones that I mentioned. Yeah, that's what I do. It's what I do. It's just what. But look at you. But you've
yeah.
got to be ready for change, Rich, man. You've got to be
You
ready
have.
and want it. You've got to be ready. And when your ready time will come, you know, it takes something different to happen. For me getting nicked, and I wasn't one of them troublemakers. You know, I'm a lover, man. You know, I'm not a fighter. But I ended up getting into those sort of scrapes and shit because I
Yeah.
was so off my head, right? It wasn't me. So I had to go there, and, you know, good luck to people that are out there that, you know, and anyone that's listening that is struggling or they want a bit of advice, £50 an hour. No, I'm joking. Anybody
They're
that,
all in
you
it for
know,
the coin.
they're all in it for the coin, man. Come on, get sober. Buy this
Well, yeah.
podcast. It will. I can get you sober is the funniest one, Rich. How the fuck can they? Because it's you. But you
Yeah.
read these things on these pop-ups. I will stop you drinking. No, you won't. Shut up. You won't. You've got to be ready for it, right? Because, you know, during the day, not just sober is fun or healthy dose of humour, but, you know, I do still help an addiction charity.
Right.
And I still do work for them during the day. And I'm trying to help people that aren't ready and don't want to change. I might
Yeah.
as well be talking into a banana, honestly, because
They're still lying to themselves.
They don't call me and ask, and they're not calling me twice a day. So how did you do it, Martyn? Well, do you want me to take you to a meeting, or do you want me to show you? But obviously, in the services, you have to work with certain people, right? This is the hard bit of the job. But you will go through all that and you will find a little nugget, right? And those little nuggets are the people that will listen to me and are ready for change. And I've had some beautiful, I've been doing that work, Rich, for like nearly 5.5 years, like working in addiction during the day, as well as doing all this other stuff as well.
Yeah.
But that kind of keeps me a little bit level. But yeah, it's a journey, man. It's been a journey, and it continues. It continues.
Of course it does. But that's the thing about life, isn't it? This comes up a lot on here actually, that there's no real destination for any of this. The only destination is at the end, when you're not here anymore. Other than that, it's all just one long journey of discovery and fucking up and achieving, and, you know, trying to keep yourself between the ditches, and then at the end of it, and then you're done, and that's it, and that's the destination. So whatever goes on before that, it's all on you, isn't it? I saw this thing yesterday, just before we wrap up. I saw this woman on TikTok. She was talking about quantum physics, quantum mechanics, but in life. And she said the thing is that your energy does affect everything around you. So if you're putting out negativity and why is my life shit? It's so hard. Everything's a struggle. Everything's this. Everything's that. That's going to change the particles around you, all the electrons around you, because that's the energy you're putting out. So when you start to change it, which I know sounds corny as fuck, that idea of projecting positive energy, there really is something in it. There really is something in it. And I did a mental health gig just before yours, a couple of weeks before, and I was talking to a doctor after, and he said, yeah, crap life syndrome is an actual thing where you think, my life's crap. Why is this happening to me? Why am I getting this shit? Why is this happening? And I went, oh, fuck, yeah, that is a thing. I do that. Because you don't go, oh, it's just life. Good things happen, bad things happen. You know, the universe isn't out to get you. You just go, oh, why am I shit? Why is my life so shit? Why is my luck so shit? Why is it? So that's the energy you're putting out. And after that gig, and then speaking to a couple of people after your gig, honestly, my whole outlook on positive energy has completely changed. And then seeing that woman talk about it honestly revolutionised my thinking. It's mad, isn't it?
It is, man. It is. But the problem is, my life's shit, you know, and that it's not fair, all that stuff that I had growing up, you know.
Yeah.
But what happens is, some people, unfortunately, stay there. And they will, for their whole life, use the blame thrower. And they will just, my life's shit because of you, of you, you know. And I love what I heard, like someone says, like, when you're doing all that, pointing at somebody, right, it's all your fault. How many fingers are pointing back at you? And I'm like, I get
Yeah.
it now. But yeah, energy, universe, yeah, 100%, Rich,
Yeah.
100%. We can just tell people how bad everything is for us. Or actually, do you know what we can do? Is think, do you know what? I'm going to do something about this. If everybody in the world had counselling, oh my God, can you imagine the love? Can you imagine it'd be such a better place if everybody just booked 6 sessions? I'm not trying to sell it. No,
Mate, I might just
he's
pin
back
comedy
there
off
again.
and start doing that.
No, but if everybody just dig deep, right? Can
Yeah.
you imagine what would not be happening in this world today? It's a big thinker. It's a big
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
If
yeah.
we all looked at ourselves, rather than pushing it away with alcohol, with drugs, gambling, with shopping, with food, with violence, what anger? Oh, I need anger
Mm.
management help. No, you don't. You just need to stop taking cocaine, drinking alcohol, fighting people.
Blaming everyone
You
for your
know,
shit life. Yeah.
it is, but you've got to want and be ready to change. And I tell you what, and I think you will know, Rich, through doing your mental health work that you do, and and on my side, there's so many independent little CIC charities and men's
Yeah.
health groups, and obviously that show that you done for Health Watch Essex and their Fellas Fair.
Yeah.
We use comedy as a way. Oh, yeah, that's falling off. We use comedy as a tool to get people, to open up because,
Yeah.
like you just said, at the end, people were coming up to us in the interval,
Yeah.
um, and it's finding new ways to just push open that door,
That's right. Yeah.
just open the door a little bit, have a little peek behind the door. Right, it can be scary, can be very scary. I had to
Yeah.
just blow the doors off its hinges. I had no choice, right? I couldn't hide behind it.
I tell you what we
But
need to do though, behind these doors, they need to sort out the lighting because whenever I've gone through the doors, they're all big light barriers. We need to get some mood lighting. Need to get some like little lamps and that. It's always like, bah, this
good
side.
music, good
Yeah, good
music.
music. That's what it needs.
Nice food. Yeah, you can just
Yeah,
see
yeah.
it now. It's just yeah. But
But
no,
Martin, you're great, mate. I'm glad you're on the other side of it, mate.
yeah. Do you know? I do not miss. I do not miss anything. This is a major statement, man. I do not miss. I was held back in my life. I'm a big
Yeah,
believer right now. I held myself back first of all with what I was doing to myself, and never really reached any sort of potential. Just struggled, ducking and diving, in and out. Everything looked good on the when you saw me, I could talk a good game, but by just removing the problem from my life and you know removing alcohol just solves so many of those
mm,
problems. It really, really does. And yes, going back to our earlier chat, yes, that feeling that was produced by
mm,
cocaine and alcohol, right? Sometimes I could be driving along. I could be driving along, lovely sunny day, right? And this little thought will come in my head. Wouldn't it be nice? Go on, 3 for 1, bottle of brandy. But that thought comes in, and
yeah,
I just laugh it off now, right? Those thoughts really do not come in. I'm talking once every 6 months, something stupid. But
yeah,
nowadays, I've got my awareness and I can laugh at it and call it whatever I want to call it, and it goes
yeah,
away. But what I used to do to it, Rich, in active addiction, I used to buy into that shit and go, oh yeah, all right. Oh yeah, a bit funny.
yeah,
I used to do what my head was telling me. But I think, now living a different life, a lot of that shit doesn't come in or any of that chatter bullshit stuff because
mm,
I've worked on myself to clear out
yeah,
where that stuff has come from and other stuff in my life that's been a blockage. And yeah, no, I appreciate, you saying that, mate, because some people can, you know, I've got friends that this is just to end on, like, this is
mm.
when you change, right? You will lose a lot of friends, right?
Oh God, yeah, 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 yeah,
There's a lot of reasons for this, right? What the biggest one is you're a reflection in their mirror, right? and they know they need to do something about themselves, right?
Yeah.
And Martyn's not going to be as funny or as off the wall as he used to. I'm even worse now. I'm better. So not worse, I'm better now. You'll get people that were like, oh my God, and they disappear. You will realise who your real friends are.
Yeah.
Right? When you start to change and lead a better life. But also, it attracts good people.
Yeah.
It attracts good people to my life. The ones that are on my same journey. I don't want to be hanging around with bullshit Bob down the pub, just talking bollocks all the time. You know, I need a healthy conversation. I need to be talking to people about something decent and not talking to other people that are just for the shit. You know the people.
I do know. But the other thing as well, we get
draining.
It is draining. I know exactly who you're talking about. And the other thing is as well is that people use you as a yardstick. They kind of go, well, I'm fucked. I'm not as fucked as Rich. Like, look at him. You know, like, he's overweight. He's this. He's that. At least I'm not that. And the day you start going to the gym, the day you start going, I'm getting on it, I'm getting healthy, they fucking hate you.
They do, man.
Yeah.
They do. Oh, he's never going to do it. Oh, my God. Look
Yeah.
at him.
Yeah. Now look at him.
Done it. But you saying that about they compare to the amount that I used to do or that. This is the big one, and like working with people that are trying to change. When people say to me, "So what? You used to get on it then, didn't you?" I was like, lived experience is massive. It's massive for helping people change. Let's just, when you hear that from the horse's mouth, it's the biggest thing, the biggest tool today. It really, really is. But I have to be careful. I don't say to them how many grams a night I ended up on or how many beers, because they will. It becomes like a bit of a competition. Oh, I'm only doing 2 a night. I'm nothing like you. I've got loads of, people do that, right? And the only way you can realise if you have got a problem is it affecting your life? Yeah. Is it affecting your life, right? And if it is affecting your life, and it continues to do so, causing friction in your relationships, in your jobs, just have a little word with yourself.
And on that note, I think that's a great way to finish. Where can we find any details to do? We'll put links up as well to Sobery's Fun and anything else you want us to do on this when we put this out. But where can we find you on the socials? Where can we find more out about Sobery's Fun?
Right, so just head over to soberysfun.co.uk. That has got the London alcohol-free stuff on it. It's also got a link on it to my wellbeing talks that I do and bits and bobs of surrounding that stuff. I am on social media. I hate it. I absolutely hate it because I have to do it for.
We're of an age, mate.
Fun, the London alcohol-free comedy. I think, and also Lost Sock Productions, which I run the mental health stuff through. I've got about 9 accounts. Drives me potty, but I have got my own account. You can just find Martyn Davies. That's Martyn with a Y, Martyn Davies. You'll find me on Facebook and Instagram. But as I say, just go to soberysfun.co.uk and just come and check out. Experience an afternoon without getting battered, right? Actually come and just experience real laughter that isn't enhanced, and I think you'll be surprised.
I can absolutely guarantee that you'll be surprised, having been there and performed, and it was some of the best times I've had. So I absolutely wholeheartedly concur with you, Martyn. Yeah, fucking get down there.
Cheers, Rich.
Honestly, mate, this has been amazing. I didn't know where this was going to go because we've known each other a long time, but we haven't really spoken. And it's been an absolute joy. It's been lovely. This has been great, mate. Honestly, it's been lovely.
We've been catching up, and so has the nation. With with what we've been up to. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope I haven't scarred anybody.
No, I reckon this is going to be all right. I think people are going to listen and go, well, fuck, yeah, all right.
Still alive.
Still alive. Yeah. But this has been Martyn Davies. I've been Rich Wilson. You've been listening to Insane in the Membrane, and we'll see you next time.